Welcome to another biblically based look into today's news from Christian Voice New Zealand. Now here's Mike Bain.
You know, all of us need heroes in our lives, whether it be Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, throw in Wonder Woman as well. Well, here in New Zealand, we hear that word hero a lot, and it's a title bestowed on rather ordinary people. But isn't that what a hero is? Ordinary people doing something extraordinary. Sometimes heroes are made because of their courage. Sometimes they're made because of their circumstances. Sometimes others volunteer to be a hero, and sometimes they become a hero out of necessity. So here's a quick story for you. During World War II, a 26-year-old lieutenant in the US Navy named John F. Kennedy was at the helm of a patrol boat that collided with a Japanese destroyer. The patrol boat was damaged and the crew abandoned ship and swam the 3.5 miles to a nearby island and set up a camp. Now, they were without supplies and they were terrified because of the proximity of the Japanese, and after a couple of days the decision was made, hey, let's swim to another nearby island. This one offered them minimal food, water and shelter. Well, John F. Kennedy, who would later become the 35th President of the United States, had always been at home in the water. He swam to yet another island to find provision to sustain his crew. There he found the help needed to put him in contact with the Allied forces and thereby saved his comrades. For his selfless action, Kennedy was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal and the Purple Heart. He was asked, how was it you became a hero? His answer was, it was involuntary. They sank my boat. And when your boat gets blown out of the water, you're faced with a decision to allow yourself to be captured by the enemy, sink or swim. If you refuse to surrender, you can quietly sink under the waves, or you can swim to safety and become a reluctant hero, but a hero nonetheless. And through this courage, you can remain a faithful witness to Jesus Christ. Well, this moment in history is calling out for heroes, reluctant or otherwise. The moral and spiritual revolution happening in this country is gaining momentum by coercion. Those who oppose the revolution are already paying the price. Our culture is slowly closing in on us, and really, there's nowhere to escape. And that's forcing you as a Christian to declare where you stand, which means that if you stand as a Christian, you'll have to accept vilification, cancellation, or be shamed. All of this does create an opportunity, though, to prove Christ is more important to us than our livelihoods, our reputation, or our family. Now, I can tell many people are uncomfortable when we talk this way. Believe this, though, it could be your reality tomorrow, and we need, as Christians, to be prepared for what is to come. Now, while your church goes through the motions, they're the ones who have surrendered. They're the ones who have put their heads under the waves, and they're the ones that are sinking. So your choice is already here to be made. These are your options in the last days. Are you going to surrender, sink or swim? Those are the options for the Christian today and tomorrow as pressure mounts from various sources, whether it be from legal quarters, educational, cultural or political. But thankfully we serve a God who has lessons to teach us even as we find ourselves drifting in open waters like we've never navigated before. You know, we're not the first believers who have sought a place to hide. Today's church is in the same place as the disciples were when they thought that Jesus was dead. On the evening of that day, the first day of the week, the doors were locked when the disciples were in fear of the Jews. They were uncertain about their future. They were hiding for fear of persecution. They were silent, wondering who would make the first move, and they were calculating what sharing their commitment to Christ would cost. They were feeling alone and abandoned, just like we might feel when we take a stand against the onslaught of our culture. Remember, Jesus returned and was amidst them. They weren't on their own. Christ wasn't dead. And the choice was with them. They chose to become the heroes the times called for. Most of them would end up martyred for the faith. Frequently asked, my church is like an evangelical bubble carrying on as usual, oblivious to the fact that the culture is collapsing around us. What can I do as an individual to stand my ground and refuse to bow to the pressures directed towards me and my family? Or another somewhat similar comment I often hear is best expressed by somebody who sent me an email, in which they wrote, "We're really sad we've left our church and our friends because the church has surrendered to wokeism." We constantly hear services on social justice, judging us, urging us to bow the knee to cultural pressures that have divided us. How can we worship Christ together in the midst of racial finger-pointing, blaming and shaming? Well, there's the challenge for us today. Will we interpret the scriptures through the lens of culture, or will we interpret culture through the lens of scripture? Which of these will be our ultimate authority? Now, pressure is building for us to surrender to the culture and tailor our teaching to make it compatible with the spirit of the times. But I believe God is calling us to a higher level. And as this cultural moment calls for heroes from all races and from all areas of life, we need heroes from everywhere. We need fathers, mothers, and children to be heroes. We need to rise together and say that Christ means more to us than the approval of culture. Ours is a choice. Will we submit to the culture or stand against it? Now, whether we joyfully let our light shine or try our best to hide, bemoaning our fate. Ours is a choice between the anger and optimism, fear of fear or courage, self-pity or joy. You know, even a stowaway must either swim or drown when the boat in which he's hiding has been torpedoed. Neutrality today is impossible. It's up to you to either surrender, sink or swim. What will you choose?
Thank you for watching. You can see more podcasts like this by subscribing to Christian Voice New Zealand. For more information about our work, or if you're moved to donate, jump online to our webpage, christianvoicenewzealand.com.